Welcome back to Washington Watch. My name is Joseph, back home sitting in for Tony today. Grateful that you are spending a few minutes with us. Parents in the Unionville Chadds Ford School District in Pennsylvania have uncovered documents via public record requests that show school employees thrusting gender ideology on students as young as 11 without the consent of their parents. And the parents reportedly attempted to work with the school district directly to address their concerns. But after many months of stonewalling by the district, the parents chose to make the information known to the public. And with me now to talk about what the parents uncovered is FRC's Senior Fellow for Education Studies, Meg Kilgannon, who served at the U.S. Department of Education in the Trump administration. Meg, thanks for joining me again.
Thanks for having me back.
Well, tell us a bit more about what's going on in Pennsylvania. What did we learn?
I wish I could say it was a shocking revelation that we'd never heard of such insanity before, but sadly, this is just a common tale told again and again across the country of parents discovering that their school district has standardized policies that affirm children to socially transition based on a claim of gender identity. And the schools generally are unapologetic for these policies. I would suspect that's why the parents are getting stonewalled by the school district and why they decided to make the decision to go public with the information to warn other parents, because they're not getting a response from their school district. So it's this kind of frustration that's fueling the activism across the country. Moms and dads everywhere are engaging in the system, speaking at school board meetings, running for office, and it's because of situations just like this one.
Now, Meg, I don't think we can describe this as anything other than a pattern at this point. Why is it that schools seem to habitually be getting in between students and their parents? What is motivating educators to think that's their right?
It's an interesting question, Joseph. I think you're seeing this attitude coming from a lot of times from younger teachers, teachers who, when you and I went to school, we had other moms who were the teachers in our school system, generally speaking. It was a great career for a family that needed additional income, and mom could still be home with the kids in the afternoon. And, that was certainly something that was common in my childhood. But as I see the system that we have in our county here, many of the teachers are very young. They've been educated in a very radicalized educational system. And, they don't trust parents. They're not educated to trust parents. They're told that they are, imparting critical information to students, which they certainly are, it should be, and that sometimes this will have to be done, behind the parents' backs or in spite of parents, or re-educating children away from the values that their backwards parents may have or have instilled in children. That it's a very different environment for kids today than the one that certainly I experienced growing up.
And that is true for me as well. I'm a public high school graduate, and nothing of this kind ever happened to me in my experience. And I'm not that old, but I'm feeling older by the day as these stories come out. But Meg, I think
you grew up in Washington State, right?
Yes.
So already a progressive environment, and even so, still very protected at that.
Right.
Yeah.
But Meg, you talk about the age of the teachers where these classrooms, where this stuff is happening. And I think there's an important point to make here because the teachers now, those who are leading the classrooms, were raised on this idea of the most important thing is to live your truth, unquote, or live authentically. And they believe that to their core. And I think what that teaches them about parents is that they see parents not as a vital tool to help train and equip and discipline children to become functioning adults, but they really see parents and the home environment as a system and tool of oppression to deny young people the opportunity to live authentically. So I think it really is baked into their worldview that they see parents as hostile, not as the primary caretakers, but as the ones we have to protect these children from. Do you think that's an overstatement?
I don't. And I think, the crisis in the family has many, many ramifications. And this could be one of them. If some of these teachers are from themselves, from families who were in crisis, then of course they're not going to trust parents. And you see portrayed in the media, the family is never portrayed as something positive, as a, you and I've met your wife. She's wonderful. You've met my husband. When you have a happy marriage, it's truly like having a superpower, and it's a wonderful support for the children that God blesses us with. And if that's not the experience you've had in your life as a teacher with parents, then you probably will be hostile to parents. So yes, and it absolutely is a worldview issue.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And it's entirely possible that a lot of these children, a lot of the now teachers have come from places where they didn't have a home environment they can trust. And so they instinctively distrust those environments, and they trust their own motives more than they trust parents, because many of them, and the other truth is, they're not parents themselves yet. So they can't relate to that relationship and that dynamic. But Meg,
it makes me all the more grateful for the Christian teachers that we have in the system, and the more traditionally minded folks that are in this environment too, and they want to serve children and serve their community, and this is the sort of situation they're struggling against.
That's right. So, Meg, about a minute left. What's your advice to parents, maybe in other school districts, who are encountering this? What should they be doing?
Well, I would definitely encourage you to be in touch with your school board member, to first and foremost, be in touch with your children if you have children in the school system, because you're going to need to correct the record with them if they have been influenced by this ideology. And then you need to be in touch with your teachers and explain to them that you would prefer that this not be taught to your children. And finally, run for office. We have plenty of resources at www.frcaction.org/schools. And we hope that you'll prayerfully consider if you're called to run for office, or to start a parents group, to do something to communicate your values, to express them into this system that so desperately needs to hear from people with our worldview.
Meg Kilgannon, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Joseph.